What's up, YouTube? Vantmare here. So doing a deck profile. Sneak was just this weekend, so I thought I'd do that for you guys. It's something fun that I've been putting together. Technically myself and my best friend Kyle have been putting together. I wanted to profile for you guys, so I picked up everything I needed for this deck from the Sneak this weekend, so it's really fun. This deck, I'm just calling it Five Nights at Fluffals, because basically everything looks adorable at first and then becomes terrifying. And I'm sorry if my voice sounds a little weird today. I was helping run a haunted house last night and going raw every like 2 minutes as people thought I was a dead body in the corner. Scaring the crap out of people made my voice go away. But I wanted to do the deck profile. It's a really fun deck, so let's go ahead and get into it. You have 3 Fluffal Dog. He's basically the heart and soul of this. He's your Stratos. You can search for a Fluffal or a Edge Imp Sabers and add it to your hand when he's normaled from the hand. So he's really good. When he's normal or special summoned from your hand, sorry. Then we get into 2 Fluffal Owl. When he's normal summoned, you can either activate his effect to search your deck for a polymerization, or if you don't do that, you can activate his effect to pay 500 and make a fusion summon for the turn without having to use polymerization, which is really good because that's what this deck does. It fuses. Then you get 2 Fluffal Bear with a new card from this set that came out. It made Bear really good. What you can do is you can tribute it, or you can send it from your deck to, or your hand to your graveyard to immediately set a Toy Vendor continuous spell card from your deck onto your field. Basically, that's what you're going to use them for. You're not really going to use them to tribute and add the poly. Most of the time, you're just going to get them into the graveyard because late game, this with him sitting in there, or even just turn 1, that is amazing. You have a Fluffal Cat. He is going to recycle your polymerizations. And then you have a Fluffal Sheep. It basically lets you get an extra special summon, which is really good because you can special summon it, bounce one of your cards, special summon the Fluffal Dog, get Dog's effect to add the Sabers, and then if you've already got like Poly or one of the other fusion cards, you can activate it, and then you're good for your fusion for the turn, so it's really good. And we've got the 1 Edge Imp Tomahawk. Tomahawk's really good because you can send 1 from your deck to the grave to burn your opponent for 800, or you can send 1 from your hand to the graveyard to change this card's name to the one you sent, which is really good. 1 Edge Imp Saw. Saw lets you... when it's normal summoned, you can discard a Fluffal card to draw 2 cards, then put 1 card from your hand onto the bottom of your deck. It's really good in combination with Fluffal Wings. Fluffal Wings is just stupid. We get into 2 Edge Imp Sabers. It has a Plague Spreader-like effect, but it's mainly used for the fusion summons, just for the fact that it's amazing. Because most of your fusion summons require an Edge Imp Saber for the fusion summon. And you've got 2 Edge Imp Chain. Edge Imp Chain says when you declare an attack with this card, you can add another Edge Imp Chain from your deck to your hand. Also, when this card's sent from your hand or field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Fright Fur card from your deck to your hand. That's amazing to me. Because you can add this next card, which is the Edge Imp Frightfuloid, which he's always considered a Fright Fur monster. Or you can add your Fright Fur Fusion, either of your Fright Fur Traps. It's a really good card. But most of the time off of the chain, you're going to be adding the Fusion. Edge Imp Frightfuloid is just for the fact of, 1, he's an Edge Imp name for the new fusion monster because it says it takes a Fright Fur fusion monster and any number of Fluffal and or Fright Fur monster, Edge Imp monsters, which makes him good for that fusion as well when he's in your graveyard. Plus, after you've dropped a Fright Fur Tiger, he's really good because he's going to boost because he's a Fright Fur monster as well, and he's going to boost your Tiger. So it's really good. Then we get into the new card, which is Fluffal Wings. Fluffal Wings makes this deck amazing. I'm really happy they made it a common just because it's easy. If they were going to make any Fluffal card a super, like they did Mouse, it should have been this one. Or even a rare, but as a common it's fine because it's easy to pick up. But what it does is when this card's in your graveyard, you can banish this card and target another Fluffal monster in your graveyard and banish it as well, and to draw a card. Then you can send your Toy Pot on the field to the graveyard to draw another card. So you draw when you banish this and a Fluffal, then you get to send the Toy Pot, draw another card, then you get to search off the Toy Pot because this card says when it's sent from the field to the graveyard. So it's so good because this kicks off any plays. Like you get draw power and you get your searching. So Fluffal Wings makes the deck really consistent. So we've been basically waiting on that card for a little bit, and it's really, I love the card. So we get into the spells. 2 Toy Vendor. If I keep calling it Toy Pot, I'm sorry. That's what its name is in Japan. 2 Toy Vendor. You can discard a Fluffal monster from your hand to draw a card and reveal it. If it is a Fluffal monster, you can special summon it. If it's not, you have to send it to the graveyard. So not only can you kick off Fluffal Wings with like pitching it off Edge Imp Saw, like I said earlier, to draw 2, but you can also pitch Fluffal Wings off Toy Pot, reveal. Even if you discard a card, that's not that big of a deal, because then you banish the Fluffal Wings with another Fluffal in the graveyard, pop this, draw card, search. It's really good. I'm so happy we finally got Wings. 2 Dark Fusion, because all of your fusions are Dark Fiends, which is why I call it 5 Nights at Fluffals, because like I said, everything starts out super adorable, like this little Fluffal dog right here, and then it becomes a terrifying monstrosity. Just like when the animatronics tried to kill you. So what Dark Fusion says is it's just like Polymerization, but you can only use it for a Dark Fiend type monster. And then what it does is it says for the rest of the turn after that monster is special summoned, it cannot be targeted by any card effects. So your opponent cannot Book of Moon it, deprison it, anything like that. I mean, they can't Icarus attack it because that's a target. I mean, anything that targets your monster after you've Dark Fusioned into it, they cannot do to it. So it's really good. 2 Suture Rebirth. Suture Rebirth just kind of kicks off a little bit more fusions or even overlays. You can target 1 Fluffal or Frightful monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and then its effects are negated. You can only activate 1 per turn. Like I said, it's either for a fusion if you've got the Dark Fusion or the Poly, or it's for an overlay. Then we've got 2 Frightful Fusion. Frightful Fusion's super good. I've almost thought about bumping the count to 3, but 2's working really consistently right now. It's basically Miracle Fusion for Frightfurs. That's basically all it is. I can't state it any better than that. Then we've got 1 Poly. The reason only 1 Poly is because you've got several means to recycle it, such as if you really wanted to tribute the bear on your side of the field, you can do it that way. When this is sent to the field, I think field to the graveyard. Sorry, if it's just sent to the graveyard as a fusion material, you can get back a Polymerization from your graveyard. So there's several ways to recycle it, including Fusion Recovery. Fusion Recovery says target 1 Polymerization and 1 fusion material monster that was used for a fusion summon and add them both to your hand. The reason I like Fusion Recovery is the fact that it doesn't state a fusion material listed on the fusion monster. It says fusion material used for the fusion summon, meaning you don't just have to get one that is named on there. Weird rulings on fusions. Meaning if like a Fluffal dog and an Edge Imp Saber were used as fusion materials, after you've used Poly, you can activate Fusion Recovery, get back the dog and the Polymerization, and reuse the dog. So it's really good. 2 MST for clearing problems, and then 1 Book of Moon. Again, problems. It's basically a spell trap. And then we get into the traps. The traps are basically kind of standard. some of which are standard. I'll get in the standard ones really quick. Blah, 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 blah. Standard. Okay, so one Compulse, Torrential, Mirror Force. Mirror Force is just in case you brick. Mirror Force, and then, like I said, just in case you brick, and then Mirror Force, and then Trap Stun. Trap Stun is so that way you can go off for the turn since we don't have Cold Wave. Actually, I don't even think you'd want to use Cold Wave in this deck except to like use an Owl, since all your fusions require the poly. Ignore that I said a Cold Wave. But no, Trap Stun makes it where most of your plays are going to go off without being hindered, such as Tiger blowing crap up. So that's your basic line of traps. So just Trap Stun, Mirror Force, Solemn, and then these two, it's just basic staples plus Trap Stun. Then we've got a Fusion Reversal, or Fusion Reserve. It's a really good card. I wasn't playing it before, and then Kyle made me read it because I hadn't read it much, and I went, oh, that's really good. Reveal one fusion monster from your extra deck, add one of the fusion materials listed on that card to your deck, to your hand, then you can add one polymerization from your graveyard to your hand. As I was talking about with like Fusion Recovery, this card says one monster listed. Problem with it saying listed means that you have to get one that is actually specifically named. Even though it states on a card that one or more like Fluffal monsters, that's not technically listing a specific monster for ruling purposes. So you can only get ones that are actually listed on it, such as the Edge Imp Saber or Edge Imp Saw or things like that. So Fusion Reserve is actually really good still for that. And then the last two is Designer Frightfur. You can target one Edge Imp or Fluffal monster in your graveyard and special summon it. And if you do, you can treat it as a Frightfur monster for a fusion summon that turn. But you don't have to. And then Frightfur March is is the new trap that we got. It's good as a tech one of, because what it does is when your opponent would target a Frightfur fusion monster you control, I think it says fusion, I'm sorry, I haven't read it completely. Kyle just, oh, nope, sorry, is activated that targets a Frightfur monster or monsters you control. Negate the activation, and if you do destroy that card, then you can send one of the targeted Frightfur monsters to the graveyard, and if you do special summon one level 8 or higher Frightfur fusion monster from your extra deck. This special summon is created as a fusion summon. During your next end phase, banish the special summon monster by this effect. There are several cards in the game that target, like I said, such as like if you're trying to go for a game push and they book a moon, or try to deprison. It's actually a really good card. I personally like Frightfur March as a tech one of. I think it's really good. Let's go ahead and get into the fusions. And I'm not going to lie to you, there's only 12 cards in the extra board right now, and that's just for the fact that I forgot to put Xyz monsters in the extra board, and that's my bad. But honestly, it would probably just come down to like Gaga Gaga Cowboy, 101, and a Castell. That's probably the three, I'm not going to lie to you. So let's go ahead and get into the extra board. Two of the Frightfur Sabertooth. Frightfur Sabertooth is the new Frightfur Fusion monster that says it takes a Frightfur Fusion monster plus one or more Fluffal and or Edge Imp monster to create the fusion summon for this card. When it's fusion summon, you can target one Frightfur monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Which is amazing. This card gains 400, I think it says just this card, sorry. All Frightfur monsters you control gain 400 attack. Sorry, like I said, I'm really brain dead today after staying up late doing that haunted house last night. All Frightfur monsters you control gain 400 attack. Then, if there were 3 or more fusion materials put into this thing, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. So as soon as this thing drops, it's going to be a 3200 because you're going to special summon something like your Frightfur Tiger. And all Frightfur monsters gain 400 attack for each. Oh, sorry, just for, I'm still thinking of Frightfur just Tiger. But yeah, all of your monsters, so he drops at a 28, which is fantastic. Then you've got your 2 obligatory Fright for Tiger that blows shit up, which is going to boost your Fright for Sabretooth even more, so at that point he's going to be a 31. Fright for Chimera, he's just in here if you need him. Most of the time you're not going to go into it, but he's there if you need him. Plus, Fright for March makes this thing where you make it. Fright for March is cool. Then you've also got your 1 Fright for Bear. Again, something you're not probably going to make very often, but the fact of the matter that it's there, you're basically running at least 1 of each of the named Fright for monsters. 2 Fright for Sheep. Basically, this is your Armades. Plus, if after it's summoned, it dies by any card effect or battle, you can special summon it back, and it goes to a 2800. So it's really good. You've got 2 Fright for Leo. It's basically a Volcasaurus. You basically target a card, blow it up. And then the only non-foil card in the entire extra deck of Fright Furs, which makes me sad, is your Fright for Wolf. I'm hoping that maybe in the next Astral Pack they'll give us like a super rare wolf or some shit like that. Maybe even an ultimate, I don't care. It'd be the cheapest ultimate. So Fright for Wolf is basically your big game push, because at that point you are attacking for as many fusion materials that were put into it. So if late game your opponent's got clear board, like if you've blown up their board with like Fright for Tiger, and then you go into your Fright for Fusion, basically send everything you've got from the grave to banish to make this thing, you at that point get to blow up just blow them away with attacks, which is really cool. So let me know what you guys think of the extra deck, or just even general the deck. If you like it, hit the thumbs up. If you don't, sorry. But it's a really fun deck. I enjoy getting to play it. I'm really glad that I picked everything up for the deck, because it's super fun, and with Wings, Wings is what made the deck really super consistent now, to where you basically don't care about your pitches. You used to care about what you're going to pitch off of Toy Vendor, but if you get rid of this off of Toy Vendor, you really don't care anymore. So like I said, let me know what you guys think. It's super fun deck, super consistent now with those. I will catch you guys later. Peace, guys.